Mighty Moose here. On the chopping block today, we have the Keltec CP33. This is chambered in 22 LR. It comes with about a 30 round magazine, 33 I believe, and you can extend it up to about 50 rounds. And let me tell you, I was impressed with this, and have been impressed until I ran into a couple issues with it that were unfortunate. So first off, I've had a hard time finding reliable 22 semi-autos, especially in a pistol form factor. I've gone through a few different ones like the Ruger Mark IV, etc., all of which had various different issues. In fact, the most reliable semi-auto platform that I have found thus far is actually the CMMG 22LR bolt conversion kit that you just put in a standard AR-15. That has actually been incredibly reliable. Now this, with the standard magazines, I have also found to be very reliable, especially when running Stingers. They do particularly well, but Aguila also runs pretty well in it, as well as most other semi-auto marketed or more higher powered 22 shells tend to do quite well in it. I've also run it in a variety of different ways. Right now it's set up with this just cheap red dot on top for just standard use. It's not raised or anything, so you would just aim down the sights as you usually would, just looking for the red dot. But I've also run it as a cheek-wheeled pistol, where you have a raised optic pushed a little further forward, and you grip it like this, and you set your cheek right here looking through the optic. And you can actually shoot really pretty accurately and pretty fast with that. It's not the same as shoulder wielding. It does not come in contact with your shoulder at all. You are merely resting your cheek on the top rail of the handgun. It is a little bit annoying that, your ejection port is right there, so there's some gas coming out pretty close to you. Definitely wear your safety glasses. But it's impressive how fast you can shoot with this and how reliable it has been. I did put this, this is not a suppressor or moderator, this is just a port forwarding device, so it just pushes more of the gas and sound forward. Not an NFA item or anything like that. But the main reason why I actually did it was so that when I'm cheek wielding and I have a grip on it like this, so that I have a longer barrel in effect, so that I don't have a risk of shooting my pinky off, because that would suck. Now, the issues that I have run into it. Once I started running the magazine extenders that come from Keltec, I don't have them here at the moment, and I'll talk about why. Once I started running those, that's when I started to see malfunctions. They are just 3D printed extensions that go on your regular magazines, and they started to have issues. They use the same springs and everything as the other magazine, and they just don't work. I think if they made an actual full-sized 50-round magazine for it, it would work well. It's just that those extensions did not work well. They ended up cracking after just a little bit of use, maybe 4 or 5 range sessions. And that's just not something that I find acceptable. So really disappointed in Keltec for that and how they made those magazines. I think if they were plastic injection molded or even 3D printed with something more durable like nylon or something like that, it would be great. But for the price that they were at the time, it just wasn't acceptable for how quickly they broke down and how unreliable they made the system work. As a whole, though, the rest of the system is fabulous, and I love it. So don't go with magazine extensions unless they end up upgrading them at some point. Just keep it with the basics, 33 rounds. While not as good as 50, 33 rounds of reliable ammo is better than 50 rounds of unreliable ammo, especially if the bottom half of your magazine is going to break off and send your spring and all of your ammo flying out of it. But to sum it up, love this gun. It is a blast to shoot. Definitely one of my favorites. One of the guns that I give to newbies when they want to go shoot, and explain the joys of standard capacity and higher capacity magazines. So highly recommend it. The only thing I don't like is those extended capacity magazines. Avoid those. Everything else is great. Pinty red dots, they're decent. For a plinker, I can't complain. They actually do pretty well, and they're really cheap. It's basically a clone of the Bushnell TRS-25, I believe, and it's worked well. It's actually held up to recoil even on 12 gauges pretty well. I would not trust it on any kind of defensive firearm, but for a 22 to take out to the range and plink, it honestly is a great use of the money.